Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to our presentation today. Hope you all can hear me clearly. My name is Lydia from TechnoServe. Today we'll be joining Maisha Med for a short, brief presentation about Maisha Med and a better understanding. We welcome your questions, queries. You can type them in the chat, as well as after the presentation, we'll give an opportunity for you to talk if you want to speak them out. So I think we can also start, and the rest who will be joining us will join us as we progress. So I would like to invite Maisha Med. You can go ahead and make the presentation for the benefit of those who probably, so that we don't also take too long and keep people committed. They have businesses to run. Karibu Maisha Med, the floor is yours.
Thanks a lot, Lydia. We appreciate and thank you, Charles and Leibuta, for this arrangement. I am not going to be putting my video just to take care of the bandwidth, but it's good to see you, Lydia. So at this point, we don't want to take a lot of time, but I am accompanied here with Dorcas Masatia and Victor Okoth. I'd like to invite Victor to take us through the presentation so that we get to hear. Thanks, Victor.
Thank you, Samuel. Hi, Lydia. Hi, everyone. So I'll proceed and share my screen. Can you all see my screen?
Yes, yes, we can.
Okay.
Yes, we can, Vic.
Yeah, so I'm going to take you through Maisha Med's application that pharmacies use to manage their inventory and their business. So the app, first of all, is available on Play Store and it's free of charge. So whenever you want to test out Maisha Med's application, please go to Google Play Store, search for Maisha Meds, download and install it. It's free. It will not ask you for any payments when you're downloading it. So once you have downloaded the app, when you click to open the app, the first page that you'll see is called a login page, where you're required to, first of all, create a facility, which is the process of creating an account. So once you create a facility, you'll have a username and a password for logging into the app. So in this case, I'll just log in with my account. So once you log into the app, the first screen that you'll be able to see is called a sales screen. This is a screen that is used for dispensing items to customers when they walk into your pharmacy. But maybe before we look at details on that, I'd like to highlight that if you want to access the menu of the app, you also click the 3 small dashes on the top left corner of the screen, just beside the word sales, so that you get the applications menu. And on top of the menu, you'll have the name of the facility and even the name of the account owner. So in this case, it's my name. And then down below, you have the features of the application that can be used by the pharmacy. So we look at them one by one so that you get to understand how they operate. The first one, like I mentioned, is sales screen. So when a patient walks into your facility, this screen enables you to search for an item very quickly to dispense. So once you search, for example, relief, it will show you all the brands of relief that you have, whether it is SR or MR. And then at a glance, you'll also be able to know the quantity you have left for that product and the retail price. So for example, you can see the first one is Relief MR, and we are remaining with 202 tablets. The selling price is 23 shillings. So if you want to sell it, you just click on it and then you record the quantity you want to sell to your client. And then you can also give a discount or even add some fee as a premium when you're selling it to your clients. You can also be able to view the sales summary of the transaction you are undertaking and get to know how much the client will pay in total. And at this point, you can also edit the quantity if they want to reduce the quantity they are buying. And then lastly, you'll be taken to the sale payment screen, where a client is allowed to pay for an item using cash, mobile money, or customer credit. And it's important to note that when you're selling on credit, you enable customer credit so that you are prompted to ask the customer for their phone number, their name, and the due date when they're supposed to clear their balance. That's for credit transaction. So you can record the amount you've been given. Let's say, for example, 500, and then the app will tell you that you need to return 270. When you're done, you just click on Finish Sell, and then you'll be taken to the last stage of the sell process, where you can issue an SMS receipt, you can print a hard copy receipt, or if the client is not interested in the 2 receipts, you just click on No Receipt. And that's how the sell process is. The second feature I want to look at is called inventory feature. Under inventory, we have 3 items that you can use. The first one is manage inventory. That basically shows you all the information you need to know about your stocks. So at a glance, you'll be able to know the total number of items you have in your inventory, the value of your inventory, and even the exact items that you have. So the items are listed on the white section of the screen alphabetically from A to Z. And you can even see the quantity left for each item, the price, and even the brand name. So if you want to view more items, you just scroll downwards. And if you see an item with a red quantity, it means that item is running low in stock. It's below its reorder level. So we usually also put reorder levels when you're doing stock takes for clients. And then if you want to see items that have already expired, we have a sort by filter on top of the screen. You click the arrow pointing downwards, then you select expiry dates. You'll be able to see items that have already expired so that you remove them from your shelf and discard them. We also have a button down here, blue in color with a plus symbol. This is the button you use for adding items into your inventory when you're doing stock take. And we call it onboarding feature. And then on the top right corner of the screen, we also have a feature called stock take feature. This feature is meant for reconciling stock discrepancies whenever you realize that stock items on the shelf are different from stock items that you have in the system. Maybe because you sold some items and you did not use the system, or you brought in more items and you did not receive in the system first before selling. The next item is receive inventory. This feature allows you to receive new medication from clients, and you can even track at the end of the process, you can track which supplier gave you the item and even the mode of payment. You can also be able to view at a glance items that are running low in stock from the homepage of Receive Inventory feature. We also have a filter that has low in stock. So at a glance, you'll be able to know which items in my pharmacy are running below their reorder level so that you can place one order at once. So you don't have to go to your shelves to confirm which item do we still have, which one don't we have. So that's how inventory feature operates. And then in reorder feature, I just want to touch a little bit on it, but my colleague Christine will be able to share more details later on. So these are online platform that allows pharmacies to place orders through suppliers that we work with. So currently we work with Meds, which is Mission for Essential Drug Supplies in Kenya. So they allow pharmacies that are within our network to place an order through them, and then they get benefits such as low prices and also drugs of high quality and long expiries. So their prices are very good, but for you to order from them as a private pharmacy, you need to be using Maisha Meds application first. So Christine will share more details about that shortly. The next feature is called history feature. So history basically allows you to track a record of all transactions done at the pharmacy. So if you want to look at what was sold, who sold it, which day, what time, which items were sold, then you look at sales history. It will give you all the history that you need to know. Then you can even filter for other periods so that you get to know for the last 30 days what was sold, maybe for the last 3 months, like that. And then if you want more details, you just click on details to view the details for the transaction. Similar thing, but slightly different. We also have receive inventory feature. This one now allows you to look at the history for invoices received at the pharmacy whenever you buy new medication. So you can track here once your tenant has received an order. Then we also have stock take history. Once you have reconciled your stock discrepancies in the system, you can always come to look at the stock takes done and be able to account for variations. We also have expenses history. So this one allows you to look at all the expenses that has been incurred in your facility within a given period of time, so that you're able to know how you're also using money in your facility. And later on, you'll also be able to look at how our reports feature can be able to track your net profits after you incur expenses when you're making sales. So we also have our reports feature, and I opened it on my browser. So I just want to go to my browser and show you how it looks like. When you click reports feature, you'll be asked for your username and password so that you can log into the reports feature. It's online. It's an online feature. So the same username and password you use to log into the app is the same username and password you use for logging into your reports feature. Can you see my reports page?
Yes, we can.
Okay, so once you log into your reports feature, and the first thing you need to do is to select the period for which you want to look at the reports. So maybe you want to look at the reports for the last 90 days, and then you ensure that the name of your pharmacy showing up here. So if this is also good, if you have a chain pharmacy, maybe you have 3 or 4 branches that you are running, this dashboard allows you to look at all those pharmacies and be able to check and see how they perform. So once you select the period and ensure that your facility's name is showing up here, you just click refresh so that it loads data for the period that you have selected. So we also have a homepage for this reports feature. It just gives you a summary of what is contained in other specific reports, like for example, gross margin for the period you have selected, number of patients served, quantities dispensed, products out of stock. But if you want specific reports for your pharmacy, for example, dispensing, what has been dispensed, you just click on dispensing feature, and then it will show you a graph of what was dispensed. So you can see in this particular pharmacy, malaria was the least dispensed, and antibiotics was the most dispensed item for the last 90 days. And then if you move downwards a bit, so let's see. It will also be able to show you number of patients served, items, the exact items dispensed for that period, and you'll also be able to get details such as the API name, brand name, unit type, expiry date for all those products that were dispensed. And then if you want also reports for sales, it will show you what has been sold within the period you have selected, with a summary for number of patients served, quantity sold, sales total, cost of goods, and even the gross margin, which is profit before tax. You can also look at reports for your inventory. The reports will tell you that the total number of items in your inventory is 277. And even if you go back to the app to confirm, you'll be able to tell that it is true. It will also show you the cost of inventory, products nearing with expiry date that have expired, sales value for your inventory, products out of stock, all those details. And even if you scroll downwards, you'll be able to see the exact items that you have in your inventory. And the good thing about this reports feature is that you can download these reports you're looking at and be able to analyze them offline. Then we also have profit and loss. So once you have updated expense feature on the app that I'll show you shortly, you'll also be able to account for your net profit after taxes or expenses from this page. So whenever you do actions in the app, that is translated to this dashboard, and then you can be able to account for your net profits. And then lastly, we also have invoices report that basically shows you the invoices that were received within the period you have selected, and even go ahead to show you the exact items that were received and even the names of the suppliers that supplied you with the drugs. We also added a dashboard on this particular feature to enable shop owners or even dispensers to be able to know how they should dispense antimalarials and antibiotics. So we want to discourage dispensers from overprescribing or overusing antimalarials and antibiotics. So we did a research with some few pharmacies and we came up with a chart for best practice in pharmacy and compare it against your pharmacy sales. So for example, if you look at your screen, you'll see that there's a graph for best practice pharmacy and our pharmacy. So in this case, we are looking at the sales for antimalarial. The best practice pharmacy should be having 81%. So if a pharmacy makes sales that goes beyond 81%, then you know you are over prescribing or overselling that drug. And you should go back and reflect whether you are doing tests before you dispense that drug or you're just dispensing that drug for the sake so that you take care of your customers as well. So that's the same dashboard that you can also look at for antibiotics, because we have also realized that in most cases, when customers walk into a pharmacy and they exhibit certain symptoms, some dispensers are usually quick to sell some antibiotics. And over time, some users develop resistance towards certain antibiotics. So you can also compare how your facility is performing against best practicing pharmacies outside there. So in this case, we have 32%, which your facility should always be at. But if I look at my facility, for example, it's 86%. So it means I'm over-prescribing or over-dispensing antibiotics in my pharmacy, and I should reduce on that. So that's what the reports feature can help you to guide your business. When you're done looking at the specific features of the report feature, you can always log out by clicking log out. So I want to pause there for a few seconds to understand if you have any questions before we move on. Or maybe we can ask at the end of the presentation.
I think we will give them an opportunity at the end.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sounds good. The next feature is called customer credit. So whenever you make a sale on the sell feature on credit, that transaction comes to customer credit feature, and it will help you to track customers who have cleared their debts or not. So for example, you can see Rosemary on my screen has a balance of 800 and they took the debt on 8th. So if you see some overdue dates in red, it means that date has passed and they have not cleared their debt. So they can still come later on the date that you agreed and clear their debt by clicking details and then capturing the amount that they have paid. On top of the screen, you also have total outstanding credits that all your clients or your pharmacy. So this feature helps you to track debts. And then you also have a supplier credit feature that helps you to track debts that you as a pharmacy or different suppliers. So as you can see, for example, I have around 4 suppliers that I owe money. So once the date reaches for paying them, you can come here, click on details and then select settle credit so that you can pay them. On top of the screen, you'll also be able to see the total outstanding credit that you owe all your suppliers, so that even if you're operating, you don't know in your mind how much you need to pay all your suppliers. We also have a feature for adding expenses in the app. So we have a field for capturing the category of the expense. So we have put some here, which are commonly used by pharmacies. For example, electricity, meals, salaries, and the rest. You select the one you want to pay for. And then if the category you want to select is not in the drop down, then you can click create new category so that you add your preferred category. And then you come and add the amount, the date when the expense was incurred, and lastly, the description or explanation for the expense. And then when you go back to history feature later, you'll be able to account for the expenses that you have incurred that day in total. We also have a sync feature that allows you to back up your data so that your data is well secured at any given time. So when you're connected to the internet, you just click on sync, and then all items in your facility will be backed up one by one. And when sync is completed, all items on this page, the sync status page, should be reading success with a green tick. The good thing about the way we are taking care of data security for our clients, we are partnered with Safaricom. And if you have a Safaricom SIM card in your tablet, you'll not be buying bundles so that you can back up your data. So what you need to do is just put the Safaricom SIM card in your tablet and then turn on data mobile, even without buying bundles, whenever you want to sync, and then your data will be backed up. So this is also the feature that allows you to remotely manage your business, even if you are not physically present at your facility. So you can be in Mombasa and your shop is in Nairobi. What you need to do is make sure that you have the app in your phone and you log in. Then you also ask your users to be syncing frequently, and then you'll get the updates from your side without calling them. So once they sync and you also sync from your end, you'll be able to see all the transactions that they have done. And then lastly on sync is that it happens on the background. Sync takes place on the background after every 30 minutes, so long as you are connected to the internet. So if you have Wi-Fi connection in your facility or your data is always on, it will always sync by itself after every 30 minutes. Lastly, I want to take us through some things you can change under settings or some things you can restrict as a shop owner. The first one, we look at manage facility. So you can always change the name of your business, the location, phone number, and then just click save. For example, if you have shifted your shop from one place to another. And then if you want to add a new user, maybe you have a new employee you've employed. If you want to create an account for them, you just come and click add user. And then you select the type of account you want to create for them. The app provides for 3 types of account. One, attendant to access basic features of the app like selling, receiving medication, tracking debts, and syncing. And then a manager account for someone who has been employed to run the business on behalf of the owner. So on top of what the attendant can see, they can also be able to manage inventory and make certain changes when the admin is not around. And then lastly, administrator is an account type that is open for a shop owner or another partner in business that needs to see everything. So once you have selected the type of account, you fill the details below, then you just click save on top of the screen. We also have patient tracking feature. So this one mostly is used by public facilities that are interested in tracking biodata for their patients. So if you want also as a private pharmacy to track the names of your patients, where they're coming from, their age, maybe their inpatient or outpatient number, if you have a hospital or a clinic, you'd enable this feature. And then before you make any sale to a customer, you'll be prompted to fill in the patient details first. So let me just enable it and show it to you. So if you go to the menu, once you have enabled that feature, you realize that patient feature comes first before sell. So that is because if you want to sell, you must first of all capture a patient's detail by signing the patient up. So you'll fill all these details for your patient, and then when you're done, you click next so that you can make a sale the normal way. So if that feature is not enabled, then you'll not be able to track your patient's information. And then we also have a feature for hiding or showing prices. So for private pharmacy facilities, they usually don't sell drugs. They give them for free. So for them, they'll disable this feature. If you're a private facility, then you just enable so that prices can be shown on the app. We also have enable credit feature that when turned on, allows you to sell items on credit. And when you disable, no user in the facility can sell an item on credit. And then we also have zero prices that, if enabled, allows you to save items in the system without prices or even with the zero as the price. We also have wholesale feature that allows you to record. When you enable it, you'll be able to record wholesale price for items as well as retail price, because we also have pharmacies that do wholesale and retail at the same time. And Sometimes a wholesale client may walk in or a retail client. So when you enable this, when you go back to sell feature, you'll get a button for switching from retail to wholesale, respectively. Oh, let me disable patient tracking first. So when you enable wholesale feature from the app settings, you have a button here on the sell page, so that when you're serving a wholesale client, you move it to the right, and then the prices on your screen should change to wholesale price. You serve the client. When you're done, you can still return it to retail price, and then the prices will go back to retail price. We also have a discount limit feature that allows you to restrict the amount of discount your employees or staff members can give to customers whenever they come to your facility. So if you put 25%, for example, no item can be sold with a discount of more than 25%. You're also free to customize your own limit. So you can even put 5 or 2, the way you decide. And then we also have a feature for connecting with the Bluetooth receipt printer. When you are starting the presentation, I mentioned that at the end of the sale process, you can be able to issue a hard copy receipt. For you to issue that receipt from the app, first of all, you have to connect the tablet with the printer and through Bluetooth. So this feature must also be enabled within the app for that connection to happen. So that's the purpose. And then under settings, we have a feature for editing user details. So you can always change your name, phone number, and email, then update. You can also change your password. When you feel like someone somewhere knows your password, you can always update your password. Under advanced settings, these are settings that you may rarely use, but in case you want to use them, you can still use them. So the first one is language. So the app's primary language is English, but if you want the app to operate in other languages, you just click here, then you select. So currently we only have English and some languages that are available in Ethiopia. In the future, we'll have Kiswahili, French, Spanish, and all that. But currently we only have English and Ethiopian languages, because we also have plans on that side. We also have export database feature that you only use when you have a problem with the app. For example, if the app is crashing or you have a bug that you have experienced when you're using the system, we'll try to, when you're doing customer care, we'll try to find out what the problem is. But if you cannot establish it over the phone, as a last resort, we may ask you to export your database so that you can share it with our tech team to look at it. So when you export your database, you'll be taking a copy of your data and sharing it with us. Then we look at it. Zero down inventory. This was a feature which is usually used by pharmacies that have stopped using this system for a long time, maybe even some months. So if they want to go back to using the system again, what they need to do is to do a fresh stock count so that they can resume using the system. So if you've already done a stock take before and you stopped using for a while, the prices will still be in the system, but the quantities you need to change. So to make it easy for users to do a stock count, if you enable the box, once you read the instructions here and you check the box and select agree and zero down, all stock quantities in your system will be zero, and you must do a fresh stock count so that you can resume using the system. But this action is reversible, so you must be sure of what you are doing before you enable and agree. We also have custom Bluetooth receipt width. This one helps you to determine the size of your Bluetooth receipt when you're printing to clients. So you can select the sizes from the options that are available. Lastly, you can also choose the calendar type to use in the app, for example, Ethiopian or Gregorian calendar, especially when you are selecting dates for customers to come and pay their debt, or when you are selecting dates under drop-downs. That's all we have under settings. And then lastly, if you want to look at the version of the app you're using, it's always down below your menu or on the login page of the app. And if you want to log out of the app, you just click on log out so that you go back to the login page. So thank you so much for your time. I'd like to maybe give this opportunity for anyone to ask a question about the app before we can invite Christine.
Guys, if anyone has a question, we can also type in the chat. We'll read it out to you. If you also have a question, you can also, if you are unable to reach your chat, or you don't know how to access the chat on the Zoom on the phone, you can also type on the WhatsApp group. We will bring them to the attention of the group by reading it aloud, and then we can answer it.
Thank you, Lydia, and the team. Allow me to just come in and say hi. We are in another meeting in the office, and my Zoom was having problems. I'm telling you for me to join, though I've just been late. But thank you very much for stepping in for the rest of the team. Congratulations so much, and we are together for now. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Tioko and Karibuni. I'm sure some of you know him. You worked with him in the groups. Tioko is one of our business counselors who have been supporting the chemists or the pharmacy groups. Anyone else? TechnoServe team, probably do you have, are there people who might also have questions which the participants have brought to our attention?
Yes, Lydia, I think we have 2 questions in the chat.
Kimati, I'll give you the honors of asking them.
Oh, okay, sure thing. So we have one from Asin. I can see it's all already answered, but just for the sake of the rest of the team, on the discount, is it generalized, or you can set different discounts for different items?
So it's generalized. If you put a limit, for example, 10% discount limit, it will apply for all items. You will not be able to give a discount of 10% or more than 10% for all items. But the app allows you to give discounts on certain items or not. Yeah.
Okay, thank you for that. The next question will be, what's the price of installation?
All right, thank you for that good question. So the app itself, like I said earlier on, is free of charge and available on Play Store. So you can download and install it on your device without paying for anything. And even you can go ahead, if you already have a tablet, you can go ahead and do your own stock take if you understand how the app works. So you'll not be paid, at that point, you'll not pay for anything to Maisha Meds. But if you need hardware from Maisha Meds, because we also provide affordable hardware from our end, then what you'll be able to incur the cost is the price for purchasing the hardware. And also if you need us to come your facility to do the stock take and training for you, then you'll also pay for that. So stock take and training, we usually charge 8,000. 4,000 is for stock count, 4,000 is for training. And then in terms of hardware, we have different hardware types. We have 3 types of tablets that we sell to clients. So the first one is a 7-inch tablet that normally goes for 8,000 shillings. We also have 2 types of 8-inch tablets. One is a 1 GB RAM tablet, which is 8-inch in size, goes for 13,000. The second 8-inch type is a 3 GB RAM tablet, which goes for 15,000. And lastly, we also have a 10-inch tablet with an external keyboard that we normally sell at 18,000. We also have a lock and stand for ensuring security of the tablet when you are operating with it in your facility, which we usually sell at 5,000 shillings. So the lock, it comes with a stand for mounting the tablet on the counter and a lock for locking it so that no one can take it. So that one is 5,000 shillings. And lastly, we have a Bluetooth receipt printer that enables you to print hard copy receipts to your clients. We normally sell that one at 8,500 shillings. But all this hardware, you don't need to buy all of them at once. So what you need to get started is just a tablet, of which you can have one, so long as it is having Android version 5.1 and above. You'll be able to get started using the app.
Thank you, Victor. One additional question, this is coming from the team. Is there a benefit for using the Maisha Meds devices versus using your own phone? And I'm asking this because I'm assuming that the Maisha Meds devices are locked to just that one application, so they would not be able to install WhatsApp and like games for the kids. So is there like a benefit for using your devices versus their own?
Yeah, so maybe one disadvantage for using your personal phone to host the app as you run your business is that sometimes you may leave the facility with your phone when you're going somewhere, and the person left at the facility may not have something to dispense the item with. So at that point, it will force them to write down the sales, and then when you come back, then they log the sales using your phone. So what we usually advise is that you get a tablet or even a good smartphone, but what we advocate for is a tablet because of the screen size that enables you to maneuver easily on the screen, so that even when you're leaving the shop as a shop owner, you are sure that the system is being used at the facility. Yeah, so if you use a phone, then most of the time you'll always live with it. And then the tablet, as I mentioned, you don't need to buy it from Maisha Meds. So for example, Maisha Meds, we stock two models currently. We stock Alcatel and Xtigi. But if you don't like the models, for example, you're not an Alcatel person, maybe you prefer Techno or Samsung, you're also free to buy by yourself. But we provide Alcatel because that's the one we feel most clients have been able to afford easily. Thank you.
Thank you, Victor.
I have a question. Can I go ahead?
Sure.
And anyone else who's not talking, please.
Yeah, this is Chris. I have a question. I wanted to ask, for instance, I have a desktop in my premises of my business, and I want to use the same desktop. Are these software available to be installed in the desktop versions that can be used? That's one question. Second question, what is the customizable price that the lowest, probably the smallest business can start with to have all these topics all together for returning?
Okay, thank you. So maybe to start with the second question, the smallest price or amount of money you'll incur to get started, maybe for a small pharmacy, is around 12,000. For example, if you need to have the 7-inch tablet, which goes for 8,000 shillings, and you just need us to come and do a stock count for you, you'll pay around 12,000 to get started. That is for the tablet and stock count. And then on the desktop bit, you can use the app on a desktop, but there are limitations to that. So even right now, I'm sharing my screen on my laptop because I'm using it on my laptop as well. But so you have to install an APK installer called BlueStacks on your laptop or your desktop first. Yeah, so that it can host the app for you to use it. There are also other limitations to using a desktop because this app has been optimized to work best in an Android device. So the first limitation is power supply. If by bad luck there's power outage in your area for the whole day, you'll not be able to use your desktop the whole day. But if you have a tablet and you have charged it and it's full, 100% full, you'll be able to use it for the rest of the day. On the bit of syncing, also it will be a challenge when you're using a desktop because you have to have a modem or a wired internet connection for you to back up your data real time. So those are some of the challenges. And then desktop is also bulky. Maybe you want to go home and then at the end of the day, at the end of a busy day, you want to go home and look at your sales. in a very relaxed environment at home, a tablet will be very appropriate for that, because sometimes desktops are bulky and then they're also prone to breaking down every now and then. So a tablet is very portable and affordable, does not need you to install an APK installer for you to use it. And then it's also easy to use on a tablet.
Thank you, Victor. And before we take the next question, just something I would like for the chemists and pharmacists in the group to be aware of. TechnoServe's, since he's the one doing the introductions, we are looking at an option where we can either get you financing, something like Lipa Pole Pole, or we get the devices and then we discuss how to secure like your commitment, but don't be discouraged with like that figure, because as far as the pilot testing is concerned, we're supposed to handle that for you. At which point now it will be upon you to take up any costs moving forward.
Okay, do you have any other question for the POS app? Maybe because of time, I'd like to also give my colleague Christine an opportunity to talk about reorder.
No, there seems to be no other questions. Probably when they come up, we will read them out and we can answer them if they do arise and we have time, or we can respond to them in the group.
Okay, thank you, Lydia. So I'll stop sharing my screen. Christine, please feel free to start your presentation as well.
Thanks, Victor. Let me share my screen. Please let me know if you're able to see the screen.
Yeah, okay.
Are you able to see the screen?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
so thank you. So the reorder platform connects pharmacies to pre-qualified suppliers by the WHO. In this case, we have meds on board. So any pharmacy that is registered by the regulator, the Pharmacy and Poisons Board, and is part of our network, meaning they have our point of sale, can come to reorder.maishameds.org, and this is the screen that they'll see. If they're a completely new pharmacy, they can choose to create an account and input their details. So they'll put their name, their last name, their business name, their phone number, their email, and then they'll create their password. Immediately they create their password, they'll be able to log in. So for a pharmacy that already has a password, I'll just use my own. They'll be able to log in, and this is the screen that they'll see. So they can go through products categories, the popular categories, or they can go directly to the search button. So if they click the search button, they can see the different products that I'm trying, there's something wrong with my screen, just a moment. Okay, they can choose to look at all the products, or they can choose to search. So if they choose to look at all the products, you can be able to see there's the description of the products, the supplier. Right now we have meds, the pricing, and then the quantities. So they can choose, we'll just do a test order. They can choose different quantities and add to the carts, and they can do this at any time, 24 hours a day. And one of the additional advantages of the system is, as you continue purchasing from us, you get rewards in terms of points, and these points we use in the following year, meaning like the year 2022, to help you pay for your license, either your license for your premise or the license for your own practice. So what happens is, for the pharmacy owners, I know you're aware that once you log into the Pharmacy and Poisons Board site and put in your details, the invoice is what you share with us, and then we pay the amount equivalent to the rewards that you've received, and you'll be able to see these rewards even as you continue placing the order, so there's visibility across. It's not something that is hidden, you're always able to see. And then once you're done with placing your order, you can click the cards on the top of the screen. It brings you into the cart to see the details. At this point, you can choose to give additional instructions. For example, there are customers who say, kindly choose Cosmos brand for a particular item. Or they can say, kindly ship to this particular branch, depending on how many branches they have. At this point, you can still choose to continue shopping, which will take you back to the screen for the products, or you can decide that what you have is enough. So let's add something else. You go back to your carts. Okay. I'm not sure if it's a question or. Okay, so we continue. Once you're done, you click the continue button, which brings you to the shipping address page. If it's the very first time, it will prompt you to give your shipping address. At this point, you're able to see the different items that you've chosen. At this point, you can still go back to the cart, or you can continue to shipping if you're done. So once you're done, it will give you the shipping rate. So what happens is, for every consolidated order that is 20K and above, the shipping fee will be 0. But because my order is less than that, automatically it will pick the 350 shillings. And then now you can go to payments. We have 2 kinds of payments, either through M-Pesa, or if you are pre-qualified for our trade credit facilities, then a customer can choose to use trade credit. So once this is done, and you can, at this point, you can decide to have the goods delivered to the same address as your shipping address, or a different address to use a different billing address. Then you can complete the order. Immediately you complete the order, within 5 to 15 minutes, our team will reach out to you during our working hours. That's Monday to Friday, between 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. And then if you are within Kisumu, Nairobi, you'll get your goods by the next day. If it's beyond that, then it usually takes 48 hours. That's all from our end, unless there's a question.
Thank you so much. Any questions which you would want to ask, kindly type. Or unmute yourself. Any questions?
And
okay.
Yes, just to add to what Lydia is saying, kindly you can ask questions here or the WhatsApp group. And if you want to go through the meeting, you can also send us your email address on the group, and we will send you the recording for this meeting.
I've seen the comment from Asin about the 48 hours. One of the things we are working on is to have goods released from the branch in Meds Nairobi, but currently it's coming from Kisumu branch. So that's why if someone is beyond Nairobi, our courier company will hit Nairobi the next day, and then now beyond Nairobi, it will take another 24 hours, but it's something we are working on. Thank you for that feedback.
Probably I'll ask on behalf of the Mombasa people. Do you have already a pre-qualified courier, or you have others, or the well-known ones, the Wells Fargo, G4S, and the likes?
Yes, thanks, Lydia. We use Fargo to deliver the goods.
As you continue sharing your email addresses for the recording and also for ease of communication for future, I think I will take this moment to probably just brief in on why we requested you, or why we looped you in to have the meeting with Maisha Med. We are all in the group, we are all pharmacists or from the pharmacy group. And Maisha Med as a POS provider is only tailored to assist or support chemists. They do not deal in any other business category. They have cut out their niche as working with chemists and specialized and have knowledge and information with regards to chemists. As you've noticed, their systems, they understand the language, which other service providers might not have, of being the fact that chemists and pharmacists is quite broad, of medication, how to, the quantities and all the lingo and language involved in pharmacy and chemist group. And that's why we segregated you and created you in a separate group, because we did not want you to have a broad category or be looped together with someone who does not understand you. Maisha Med is also in the group, in the WhatsApp group. Please feel free to also reach out and also point out your concerns, questions also in the WhatsApp group. We will do a follow-up meeting on those of you who express interest and who will reach out to us and also share their contacts on the way forward and how we can better support you and also link you up with Maisha Med. We're also looking into how in future the pharmacy group can better benefit from this program. So kindly also share your email addresses and your contacts so that as we try and tailor linkages for you as part of the support we're offering as mSPARK program, we can also have a way of reaching you and also ease of communication. We have noticed the pharmacy group, your techie Savoy, we are not struggling with a bit of the other things we are struggling with the other groups. So let's also make ease of communication easier through the digital space, because most of the support we can offer you and solutions to your business for easing your workspace, convenience of making especially your systems serve you better is through technology. So let's also use the same technology to ease our communication to you. If we meet any other things outside there, we will reach out to you. But also give us your feedback and communication with regards to how you interact with the system. As you hear from Maisha Med, you can download the app or go and read more, see more of how the app looks like on Google application, on the App Store, sorry. So yes, unless there are no other questions with regards to this. Asking for tutors along. Share the mdogo plan. I think we will communicate to you directly on the WhatsApp group. So unless there are any other questions directed to us directly, we want to also respect your time, you're busy people. So I beg to close the meeting. So unless there's anything burning from anyone, let's move back to the WhatsApp space, okay? So hoping to hear from you more. Kindly feel free to contact us through the WhatsApp group. Otherwise, have a nice afternoon, and yes, thank you for making time to join us. From our end, from the mSPARK program, and from Maisha Med, thank you for taking the time. Laibuta, do you have anything to add?
That was a good closeout, Lydia. I will just say, if you have any questions and you want to opt in, we will take this up on the WhatsApp group. Kindly share the posters and any information with your colleagues. And thank you all again for joining us.
Thank you, team. Like Laibuta has put in the chat, if you're interested, after this presentation, please share with the TechnoServe team your business location, your phone number, and your name, and also the name of your business. That will be important for us for follow-up. Thank you very much. That's all from Maisha Meds. Bye.
Have a nice afternoon. Also inform your peers doing the same trade. Otherwise, have a nice afternoon and thank you. Feel free to leave anytime, but from our end, thanks.
Bye.
Thank you.
Goodbye, everyone.